Well, good afternoon, everybody. On my way to work, I want to do a follow-up on Q&A, and it always makes me laugh. New followers, Canadians that come on board. I always find people are hypercritical of how long and how much detail I take when I answer questions. Well, I can assure you, I've been at this a very, very long time. And when you don't put the time into answering questions, you know what you get? 20 million more questions. And it gets to the point you spend all day constantly typing on the keyboard, follow-up after follow-up after follow-up. It's so very easy to hit a question from all angles and in as much depth as possible, because that way you cover a lot of bases. You answer a whole mass of questions in one shot related to one question, or they're in the spin-offs of. So that's what I do, but I'm going to go through now because there's some missed, and I want to make this key point for everybody. Right now, I'm looking at the phone. I can answer comments, but as you all know, or you don't because you don't do Facebook Lives, but if you do a live, they give you an option to look at comments. You get to click on new comments, relevant comments, or all comments. I don't control that. Facebook does. So when I do Q&As and I get to the end and I scroll through all the comments, generally I miss a whole bunch because they're not being made available to me in the live. And I can't change that while the live's going. After the live, I can go when it's uploaded from Facebook, usually anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes after the video. I can then go back and look at all the comments. And I do really hate typing answers because it's never as personal as speaking and answering live. So what I usually do is I'll tell people, hammer on your button, hammer on an angry face or a like and love to get my attention, and you may have to rewrite the comment. If I still can't see it, I'm sorry. It's where Facebook has put you in this relevance, new comment, or all comments, and what I'm seeing. I know Ian Bachman very well. He knows I wouldn't ignore his questions. So I'm going to go through everybody's questions, and for those who came even just 15 minutes ago or hours ago, but it was long after the live, people, you got to look at when the live was done. It's not live anymore. When you look and you see uploaded at 9:50 a.m., that's when my live was done. So if you post a comment, let's say 4 hours ago, it's 10 to 5 right now. I mean, you guys, come on, the live's been over for 6 hours at that point. Like, you know, I get it. People get frustrated. They don't know any better. And it's easy to jump on a wagon and feel like the world's against you. I never, ever try to avoid questions. I've never been that way. And I do know the concept of time, and I understand live debates as I've participated in lots. But this is my Facebook. And if you don't like it, tough titty, because I'm not one of those who will spend 6 hours a day answering questions. I went through that years ago, and I learned, go through, put as much detail as possible. Often repeat yourself over and over, because that is what the platform Facebook produces. And if I don't, people come and go. As I watch this live right now, people log on, people will be on for 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, or they go, and new ones come, so they missed the other. So often I will go through on a particular topic, and I may even address it 3 times in a single video. It upsets people, but I cover more ground, I educate more people, and again, with my long-winded questions, I answer them entirely. So, Ian, you asked about P5 members. Why do they not deal with the crown now, and then specifically the royal family. Here's the problem. 2 of the P5 are of crown royal families with crown embedments, not only in their constitution, but their narratives on the world stage. They have not released all countries and independence. They were told to. For UK, King George started that. France made big efforts to do that, and in large part they did. But is it done entirely in this world? No, Ian. And those 2 countries still go out there to do that. Is this the same for China, Russia, and USA? No. Do we have a president in the UNSC P5 right now, namely Joe Biden, who is pro-UK royal family and their narrative? Absolutely. His name's Joe Biden. And the evidence mounts today. He did it again. The filibuster and destroying the Senate as it currently is, taking away that majority, weakening the rural and small town, small urban America. Absolutely. Using the power of a majority in the illusion of democracy. And what I mean by that is unitary states, those are the crown colonials, a major narrative of the UN. They like to put the city first, the highest population. They like to ask questions that target city folk, densely populated city folk, and their needs, which are never the same as rural needs of same regions or of regions inside UN states. And that's a bad thing. In Unitarianism, it's bad because it shows the world a wrong narrative. Like, if I talk about freeways and the importance and the entire country funding it, taxing farmers to pay for it, for example, is that any kind of direct benefit for farmers in that region or country? No, it's not. And is it fair they pay a disproportionate use of the taxes for that? No, it's not. Whose benefit is it for? The majority who lives in that city municipality. You know what I'm saying, everybody? This is the problem, where major highways being twinned between 2 major cities. You'll find rural communities hardly utilize them, maybe once or twice a year. So you understand what I'm saying here, how a democracy can have the illusion of an actual democracy. Things that are important for big cities are not important for rural countryside. And you can exploit rural because they're a minority and they're very, very different from the city. This is the problem with unitary governments. They don't make a separation of that. They don't make that a realization. And the reality is, as a unitary state, there's only so far you can grow before you start having serious internal struggles within regions and borders and those key differences. Not only for city versus rural, but you get into cultural, religious, ethnic, it goes on and on and on. For example, you could say maritime versus a landlocked province. So let's look at the maritime provinces. God bless all those folks, but they enjoy the coast. They have a specific culture based in their history inside Confederation, and it doesn't match Saskatchewan and Alberta, and there's nothing wrong with that. But without a division of powers, key distinctions in the culture, in the people, in just the economic development thereof, without a division of powers, you can't just one size fits all for everybody, because what's important for rural Albertans is not important for commercial fishermen in the maritime provinces, for example. And we see the brokenness of the customary Crown law. So I hope that answers your question, Ian. And again, everybody, I go into massive detail so that it fits everybody who may have that question, or that question but with a different understanding of how it should be answered. I answer it in a multitude of many different ranges and concepts so that it reaches more people. And I know Ian's not mad. Now, Mr. Bolden, you're not tagged, but I'm sure you'll come to look at the video. You got angry. I noticed again it was 2 hours ago you posted your comments and questions. Just going to say the live was already over 6 hours before your comments. So I was sleeping. I worked night shift. I wish I could stay up 24 hours a day, but I don't. And I did answer your question in the video. USA can't participate in Canada's convoy, Freedom Convoy. They can't, because you have to be vaccinated to enter Canada. And I promise you, no one's going into lockdowns, coming across the border with their big truck. But the real key indicator is, why are there no convoys to Washington? Why does there seem to be absolutely no problem in the United States of America with unvaccinated, who are, comparatively to Canada's unvaccinated truckers, a whopping majority? Not only is USA's population tremendously more, by 8 times that of Canada, their unvaccinated rate is 48%. And it's disproportionate for trades and those of the blue collar. That's reality. I know this. I'm in the trades. And I can tell you, it's not an issue there, because they don't have to come to Canada. They don't have to utilize their income from Canada. There's more than enough trucking work in the States to head south. That's reality. That's reality, folks. I don't know what Canadians think or are being propagated to believe. USA doesn't give two craps about Canada's convoy. Only Fox News really covered you, and they clearly told you what you got to do. I'm not going to repeat that. That's Fox News, and that's American Republicanism. And if you think that's only a Republican Party thing, GOP, you're wrong. That's a universal America thing. They look at you, honestly, with a little bit of pessimism and a little bit of disdain. They did the War of Independence. Read your history books. Americans, right, left, vaccinated, unvaccinated, religious, non-denomination, or atheist. And we can go on and on and on. It's America first. Always has been, folks. Always will be. So, Mr. Bolden Ward, there's the answer to your question in even more detail. And I hope that reaches even more people. Now, Suzi McCanna, you asked an important question just about a half an hour ago now. Your question was, why? Why does Canada not want to utilize Canadian oil? Here's the issue. The East, and we can look at the central federal government, manufacturing, the Canadian dollar, Ontario, Quebec, does not want domestic oil production, as that raises the dollar value. It's contrary to Ontario and Quebec, who also have all the centralized power over all of the transfer of wealth and tax revenue and our deficit financing here in Canada, to make sure they get first advantage in Canada for manufacturing. This is across all aisles, all industries, primary, service, you name it. To win the federal government in Canada, you must win absolutely Ontario and Quebec. So political parties will segregate the West, the Maritimes, the territories in all manner, because the reality is you must make Ontario and Quebec happy. And what makes Ontario and Quebec happy is having control of manufacturing. To do that means a low dollar value comparatively to the States, meaning oil's contrary. So you've already lost the narrative domestically that way. The other side of this is foreign special interest, and absolutely America's need for Canadian oil and to have a monopoly on that. Canada is unwilling. Everybody, Trudeau passed Bill C-48, the ban of tankers, tanker bans, which, since, again, I'm going to repeat it, IMF, International Maritime Organization, IMO. And IMO is the ultimate authority in this world for the oceans and trade. All nations of the world have to follow it, or your ships will be seized, sunk, or worse. You cannot go out in the ocean with said products without adopting the fuel requirements and the capacity requirements. And as of January 2020, Canada must supply 2 million plus capacity tankers, or at minimum for the Suez Canal, you must have 750,000 barrel oil capacity tankers. Canada has none. We have Paul Martin's corrupt shipping, 200,000 capacity tankers. Not acceptable on world oceans and world trade. We are not going to Asia that way. You are not compatible with the world shipping. For the umpteenth, a millionth time, said again and again by myself with lots of literature and publication. Secondly, you need deep capacity port tankers. That is promised from Northern Gateway and Energy East, the only two ports capable of housing 2 million plus capacity tankers. Canada has none anyway, but that's what we need. That's what we don't have. No pipelines for Energy East, no pipelines for Northern Gateway. And there's an island north of northern Vancouver of First Peoples where we could do the hub that is there in Texas for 2 million capacity plus tankers offshore. We could do that with First Peoples nation that wants to go independent, by the way, north of Vancouver on a small island with deep waters. We could do that. We could do that. Unfortunately, Bill C-69 makes that impossible. More than that, all the anti-pipeline rhetoric, the Green New Agenda by foreign special interests so that the Eastern Canada cuts off the West from the Atlantic. So everybody knows natural gas in a Great Lakes abundance just from the province of Alberta alone cannot and is not allowed to breach Ontario and Quebec to go on to the Maritimes. They're not to have it. They use oils. That's how they eat their homes. I'm sorry Canadians don't know this. I'm sorry my massive education, which is backed up by the greatest experts in the world, acknowledged by the greatest economists in the world, but absolutely segregated and withheld from all Canadians for now more than 5 years. I've tried and try again. This is Canada. This is the divisiveness. This is the system of customary crown law to absolutely destroy you, the people. That's the truth. Suzi, I hope it answers your question. It's been asked many times in many variations. Yes, I put 10 minutes into answering it because I was in United We Roll till it got usurped by the crazy, as I stated before. And why the Freedom Convoy, I will not be participating. Been there, did that, done it. There's no success there. USA will not participate. They have their own system in the United States. I'm going to tell everybody again, the Supreme Court already ruled in the United States. Unvaccinated truckers have not lost their jobs. They already found new routes. Everybody's employed. They have extreme labor shortages. That's reality. They don't have to serve Canada. Canada last. You want vaccine mandates? No problem, Trudeau. Just be prepared to be served last and at the absolute greatest expense. That's the truth. It only hurts Canada. Everything Canada does only hurts Canada and the Canadian people. Even this convoy, I'm sorry. Everybody wants you to lie. People want you to make them happy, but lying doesn't make anybody happy. And it's the reason why Canada is in the absolute disgusting pit of destitution it is today. You'll find nobody who's spent 20 years of their life, like myself, fighting, whether it was through labor. And I did real actions, like shutting down a province and its oil industry, locking down refineries. People can be mad about that. I paid the ultimate price for that in my career, even till this day, completely across Canada, as painfully I found out this summer in the province of Ontario. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't like trolls seeking to destroy my employability in Canada. But I have paid prices, Canadians, prices that go on and on absolutely for the rest of my life. And the only reset for me is the United States of America at this point, where I get a fresh new start. And at my life, in my last 20 years, I want to give her. I want to get a bunch of things done. I want to see a political party form, and I want to have the strength to see success. That's what I'm going to have to do. Now, updates, Norway. I know a lot of people are patient. Norway, what happened with Norway? It looks like probably nothing. I don't think they put it through. I phoned follow-up 10 o'clock. Not well received. Phone not answered. Didn't go through, but I can't make for sure the statement that it didn't go through. The paperwork still may have gone to Russian USA, but I believe highly it's unlikely. I believe that the unitary crown customary law UN state, meaning they're both, according to my paper, Norway is not going to push that through. Everything I stand for, everything I educate is contrary to Norway and their royal family. So that answers that, everybody. It's okay. I already saw this coming in, and it's now 5 days' time. Russia takes over presidency of the UNSC, and my paper absolutely will be going to USA and Russia if they haven't already got it. I still sent out the individual emails anyway. I know the representatives have it. I was welcomed into UNSC P5's rep, Linda Thomas Greenfield, as I published 2 days ago for all of you. I realized only I was allowed in there. One other from Toronto, a pretty famous journalist, so I guess I'm a very privileged and fortunate Canadian, and it's more than likely USA has the document in its entirety, as well as Russia. But still, I want to make sure the confirmation, I want to make sure of that for all of you, so I'll be hitting it absolutely February 1st, and we're going to see how things shape up. There's one more issue to talk about here I put in the video. I think I kind of already hit it with the convoy. Hopefully I did. Anyone watching, hit on the like, love, the last statement in my title here. What did I miss? I'm looking. I don't see the like, loves hitting. I know there's a lot of people there, so obviously I caught it. I just didn't do it in order, I hope. I'll be kicking myself after if it doesn't come through. Anyways, that's my video. Hope it helps people. I will do more Q&A as I clean up my Facebook and get things back on track. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. And I hope that fills some blanks. Bye now.